So today I want to talk to you guys about 5 differences between good and bad Smash Ultimate players. Now, of course, I've seen a huge variety of different levels of players online. I've seen a lot of different players in my local scene, kind of all over the place. And today I want to talk about the main things that I think make certain players really good and make other players not so great. These are going to be some exact things that you can actually look at and work on and view from your own replays and see if you're doing or not. So hopefully that can help you guys today. With that all said, let's get started. The first thing I want to mention about the difference between these players is that in a lot of cases, bad players just kind of throw out attacks really just all the time. And no matter what the situation is, you see your opponent, you hold towards them, you press the A button or the B button or whatever, and you try to hit them. Now, of course, this can work in some situations. You can, in a lot of situations, trade attacks. You can, in a lot of situations, maybe win that trade. And against certain players, eventually win like this. But I'm going to say in a lot of cases, if your opponent knows that you're just throwing out attacks over and over and over again, whenever there's any situation to do so, they can play around that very easily. I know this is a problem I sometimes have where I feel like I have the advantage. I'm throwing out attacks left, right, and center. And then my opponent just waits, doesn't throw out an attack, waits for me to miss mine by running away or shielding it or whatever. And then they hit me right after that. And then I've overextended, they now have me caught in a bad situation, and they can probably hit me with a really hard punish, maybe even a smash attack, or some other random thing that they decide to use. I feel like this is the thing that a lot of people have a big problem with. Just because you can press the attack button doesn't mean you necessarily should be pressing the attack button. I feel like another really good case to kind of show this off is, let's say that you've just been hit right above your opponent. Let's say they're, Cloud for this example, they're using up tilt, they have you above them. And instead of just trying to get away from his up air juggles, you instead try to use something like a Pichu Nair to get out of those. Now, you could potentially maybe trade a hit and eventually get out as Pichu doing this, but you probably shouldn't try to do that because the up air is just going to keep hitting you again and again. And if he knows that you keep trying to mash any button to get out of his combo, you can just kind of wait, play around that, and then hit you over and over and over again. I know a lot of people just don't really think about this, but if you don't, it could lead to a ton of damage on yourself. It could essentially just lead to you just dying. And yeah, overall, instead of just throwing out attacks all the time, look for prime situations to use your attacks. Look for situations where your opponent is maybe messing up. Look for situations where your opponent is just doing the same stinking pattern over and over and over again. Dodge that, and then attack for yourself. Really, this is a lot of mind games, but the TLDR is just don't throw out attacks all the time because that doesn't really benefit you in a lot of situations. Another really big difference that I see between a lot of really good and bad players is that a lot of bad players seem to just use smash attacks a lot, or use attacks that are very similar to smash attacks, essentially just high committal moves. Moves that take a long time to come out and a long time to end, but if they are hit, they're going to do a lot of percent. And I think a lot of people think that, hey, if I just keep spamming this Ganon forward smash, one's probably going to eventually hit, and that'll probably be worth all those times that I got hit, and it'll be all great. The problem is if your opponent really plays either up close to you or just kind of knows that you're going for this at all, they can easily play around this. And when you honestly look at the best players in the game, you don't really see them going for smash attacks way too much. You don't really see them going for moves that take forever to start and forever to end unless they have a giant read, because it's really easy to play around this. And if you feel like you just keep throwing out attacks and nothing's hitting, this can in a lot of cases be why. If you look at the best players in the game, a lot of the times they're throwing out very low committal moves. Moves that they can hit on their opponent's shield and not be punished. Moves that don't take out way too long to actually begin. And moves that actually one hit, let's say like a Pichu Nair, can actually hit your opponent into a situation where maybe it could lead into a smash attack and could lead into something better later on. There's a lot of moves like this in the game, and overall I'm going to say right here, just focus on yourself not using too many high committal moves, and instead focus a lot more on using the ones that are a bit safer and saving the high committal ones for when you finally read your opponent and know they're going to do something and you want to kill them off of that. The third thing I see a lot of bad players doing is rolling and shielding a ton. Now, normally I wouldn't say that this is the worst thing in the world because they are pretty safe defensive options. However, I feel like in Smash Ultimate there is a lot better options. And I feel like a big problem, for a lot of players in this game is that they came from Smash 4, a game where you could honestly just kind of shield and then grab everything, and that kind of just worked. Or we could roll and not really be punished, or we could air dodge and not really be punished. And defensive options were very good. In this game though, your roll gets slower, you can't really grab out a shield that much anymore because it's way slower, and shielding just isn't quite as safe because there's way less landing lag on all these moves. So what does that mean you have to do instead of just shielding and hoping for the best? Well, honestly, you're going to have to use your movement in this game. And even as slow characters like Ganondorf, you can easily do that. Do stuff like wave landing, as we saw MKLeo do in the Invitational. Do stuff like dash dancing a lot, as we've seen just by a majority of players. Jump in and out. Use your movement to the best that you possibly can, bait people's attacks, and then hit them back. Now, of course, there are situations where you will want to shield, where you will want to parry, where you will want to roll, all of that. But as you see top players playing, they don't use that stuff way too often. They use it for very specific situations, quite a bit more often than smash attacks, for example, but still, they don't use it tons of time. And I think that can kind of show just how these are important tools, but they shouldn't be spammed a lot. I feel like the main problem about using them in this game is that if you're dash dancing to avoid attacks, well, you can avoid your opponent's attack and then hit them right back. Well, if you're just shielding or if you're just dodge rolling, you can't really hit them back, you can't really gain any momentum, and that's kind of the main difference, and that's why you should be focusing on using your movement instead of just plainly using your only defensive options. Even looking at MKLeo in the last big tournament, he did amazingly with this. He used a lot of wavelands, used a lot of dash dancing, he baited out a lot of attacks from his opponents and punished accordingly. This is something that you will have to work on, something that you will have to focus on, but you can become a lot less predictable, and you're just going to be playing a lot better and a lot less slow, because rolling and shielding a lot does kind of slow down your gameplay a lot. The fourth thing is a thing that I'm honestly going to say I've seen a lot of good players start to learn and start to master in this game. While on the other hand, a lot of bad players are just kind of ignoring this because I feel like it's kind of scary to do. And that's going to be learning to edge guard and learning to ledge trap. Now, ledge trapping is a little bit easier because essentially all it is just waiting for your opponent to come back off of the ledge and hitting them right back off the stage. You can kind of just stay at the edges of the stage, play pretty safe, and it's not way too difficult. We see this all over the place. The harder one though is going to be the one that Leffen kind of roasts everyone on, and that's going to be edge guarding. And I feel like the thing about edge guarding in this game is that it's actually pretty strong. If you hit your opponent off the stage, they really don't have that many options. If they air dodge, they're going to go super far down. If they jump and you can hit them again, well, they're probably going to die with a lot of the recoveries in this game. And there's a lot of good benefit to actually going off and going for kills. Now, the problem is, in a lot of cases, it feels kind of unsafe. A lot of characters' recoveries aren't that amazing, and if you mess up your edge guard, you might mess up your own life as well. But I'm going to say right here, you'll see this more and more as we go forward. Good players go out there. Good players try to edge guard. Good players try to hit people, try to end their stocks early, try to do all that because there's just so much reward. And while you might mess up quite a few of your games and you might even lose like 50, 100 games online by doing this, in the end, if you can get this down, you will have that mastery. You'll be better than so many other players. And this is one of those things that I feel like is not really thought about way too much right now, but definitely worth your time and something that I'm personally going to focus on doing a lot more in the near future. The final thing is going to be a thing that honestly made me just straight up get demolished in the last tournament I went to. And, I'm just going to have to take that L in that way, but it's something that I feel like is very important that not really much of us think about. And that's going to be bad players waste their double jump a lot, and good players save their double jump a lot. Now, essentially what I mean by this is that in a lot of cases, let's say that I get hit above my opponent. And right now I'm in a pretty bad situation. In a lot of cases, what I can do is either jump, use an attack, try to drift away, or air dodge. And essentially the least committal of these moves is obviously to jump. But there's a problem where if I jump and my opponent is essentially guessing that I'm going to jump or sees that I'm going to jump, they can just hit me off the stage with back air, forward air, whatever. And then if I'm playing someone like Cloud, which for example I was using, I'm just going to kind of die. And that's, I think, a big problem that a lot of players have. And a thing that not really way too many people think about. If you lose your second jump as many characters in this game, you can't get back onto the stage. And it's something you have to focus on, something you have to actually look into and look after. Think about when you're using your second jump. Now, of course, you don't have to worry about this, 24/7. Don't be way too afraid about double jumping. But mainly when you're in a really bad situation, when you're in disadvantage, in a lot of cases, you'll see good players just taking that hit. You'll see good players being hit off the stage, maybe taking 30, 40, 50%, but they're alive. Well, bad players will maybe only take like 20, 30%, but they got gimped, but they're dead. This is a thing that you kind of have to figure out for yourself, I guess, when it's worth to do, when it's not. But for right now, I'm going to say, try to save your double jump, try to break this habit. It's a thing that I know a lot of people have. I have it. Definitely worth focusing on. And while it might make you take a little bit more damage than you possibly should, it is something that is just going to save a lot of your stocks in the future and something that I'm going to, really work on. Anyways, there you guys go. Those are the 5 main differences, at least in my own opinion, between good and bad players in Smash Ultimate. Now, I wanted to be pretty exact on some things that you can actually focus on in this video. A lot of the times I kind of give you some general ideas of stuff that you can do to improve, to get better, to work on. But this video is like, hey, I want to give you exact things, not really mindset-based things, but just things in the game that you can get better at. So hopefully that was nice. Hopefully that helped you guys. I know a few people are hoping for more videos like this, so maybe that's good. If you guys enjoyed, as always, guys, make sure to leave a like, comment down below what you personally believe you see as a big difference between good and bad players. Top right of the screen right now is a playlist for more Smash Ultimate videos, so if you want to watch those, there you guys go. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future. As always, guys, thank you all for watching, and have a smashing day.